Hanrahan starting in the Outdoor Weather Center alongside meteorologist Michelle Boss because we are in an excessive heat warning right now. How long is that in effect for, Michelle?
So we got a couple of days to deal with this, so it's going to be tough. But it's about 2 days of this really excessive heat.
Relentless heat.
Relentless heat for a couple of days. Not like that other excessive heat that we had earlier in the summer where it lasted for, it seemed like weeks. But we got 2 days to deal with this, and then we're finally going to see that heat break. So let's look at the excessive heat warning right now. That's the areas in that purplish color, most of eastern Washington and North Idaho. Outside of that, in the orange, heat advisory is kind of one step down from the excessive heat warning. Not only are we talking about temperatures that are going to be excessive during the daytime hours, but overnight hours are still going to be relatively warm, so it's going to be difficult for folks to cool off by opening those windows, as overnight lows are going to be as warm as lower 70s, and that's going to provide little relief for those who don't have air conditioning. As we take a look at satellite and radar, though, things are pretty quiet out there. Of course, we had full sunshine today. Could see a few sprinkles down towards south central Washington overnight, places like Walla Walla, but dry for the rest of us. Currently sitting at 84 degrees right now in Spokane, 70s in Coeur d'Alene and Deer Park, upper 60s in Sandpoint. Wow, Moses Lake. I think that's true. They're 92 degrees still at 10 o'clock at night, in the upper 80s right now in Lewiston. Current air quality is in the moderate category. It's been intermittently hazy. We expect it to be in the moderate category tomorrow, assuming no new fire activity. Here's a look at the next 3 days. Again, we just got to get through Friday and Saturday. 101 near record highs on Friday, 103 on Saturday. And we have a good chance for seeing some showers both Sunday and Monday, which is really going to help things out. And we'll see that heat break, highs on Sunday in the 90s.
All right, Michelle, sounds good. Now to our other top story tonight, the NBA draft as it pertained to Gonzaga basketball. Brendan Green joining us here on the set. My goodness, historic night for the Zags.
Yeah, 3 Zags drafted tonight. They have never had more than 2 in the same draft before, and they had 2 of those 3 players selected in the lottery, which has also never happened before. They've never had 2 players in the lottery. Here's where everyone is headed. Jalen Suggs ended up going number 5 to the Orlando Magic. Corey Kispert was picked 15th by the Washington Wizards. Filip Petrushev's name was called by the Sixers with the 50th pick. Word is he will be stashed in Europe for a few years. A surprise, as Joel Ayayi did not get drafted, but he has signed a 2-way deal with the Lakers. All right, back to Jalen and his situation. He is headed somewhere with an interesting situation, I guess, going on at the point guard position. The Magic have Markelle Fultz. Yes, that Markelle Fultz, but he tore his ACL in January. Behind Fultz is Cole Anthony, who was on North Carolina 2 seasons ago, but he was injured when the Tar Heels played in the Kennel. In total, the Magic have 4 point guards on their roster, so this will be fascinating to see how this works out. We got to talk to Jalen about what it meant to represent Gonzaga walking across the stage tonight.
Amazing. I love all my time at Gonzaga. I'm thankful for everybody, who was a part of that, staff, fans, everybody on the team. Knowing that I made that transition from Gonzaga and they helped me grow as a player and as a person, I couldn't be more thankful. So it was great to represent them walking across the stage.
On to Corey. Him going to D.C. is an incredibly cool moment, as Kispert will be reunited with Rui Hachimura on the Wizards. Today, Washington dealt Russell Westbrook to the Lakers and have long been in rebuild mode, as have the Orlando Magic. It looks like Bradley Beal will be sticking around there, so they have at least one All-Star. It's been a long road for Kispert to get to the NBA, but he's enjoyed the ride.
Yeah, you said it. It's just so much hard work and so much, failure and trying again and failure and trying again and sticking to it and kind of making gains slowly and surely. And it's been a long process, but every bit of it was worth it. So, I'm really, ecstatic. I'm over the moon about the way it turned out.
Congrats to the Zags drafted tonight, and can't wait to see Joel Ayayi prove some people wrong.
Yeah, we know Suggs and Kispert are great basketball players, but I'm also happy for them because they also seem to be really good people as well.
Absolutely.
Right? Good stuff, Brendan. Thank you very much. All right, the man wanted for shooting his wife and her daughter at their Airway Heights home is in custody tonight. According to the Pierce County Sheriff's Office, 38-year-old Zion Carter turned himself into police. He's been booked into jail on 2 counts of attempted murder. His bond has been set at $1.5 million, and he is set to be extradited back to Spokane tomorrow morning. New tonight, police have confirmed that 6 people have died now in that deadly plane crash near Lake Tahoe. The National Transportation Safety Board also confirms the flight did take off from Coeur d'Alene. The victims have not yet been identified, but authorities say that DNA will now be used to determine their identities. Officials have yet to release a cause for that crash. A suspect's in custody tonight for allegedly assaulting a woman in a King County courthouse bathroom. Police say the suspect was inside the bathroom in the courthouse when the woman entered and he attacked her. That's when court staff subdued the suspect and called police. Now, safety has been a concern for those working out of the courthouse for years now.
It's time to do something. The status quo is not working. And again, I want to distinguish between what might happen inside the courthouse and what happened outside. I'm not saying there's a link there. I can't talk about outside the courthouse, and that's an everyday occurrence, and it's time to act.
Back in 2019, a judge closed an entrance to the courthouse following an attack on an attorney and a bus driver, and there have long been complaints for several years now about violence in that area. Hundreds of people gathered today in Fruitland, Idaho to search for a missing 5-year-old boy. 5-year-old Michael Vaughn has been missing since Tuesday. He was last seen wearing a blue Minecraft t-shirt and dark blue shorts. Some businesses in Fruitland closed to help in that search. Another search is scheduled for tomorrow. Prosecutors have dropped several charges against Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell today. The two no longer face destruction of evidence charges linked to the deaths of Lori's children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. It is significant because these were the initial charges that prosecutors used to keep the couple in jail while building their case. Meantime, Daybell and Vallow still face murder, conspiracy, and theft charges that were filed back in May. Well, in other news, we are in the midst of a housing emergency with the region facing a housing shortage. ApartmentList.com says Spokane had the highest rent increase across the country in June. And many of you have told us you're now concerned about being able to afford rent. KREM 2's Morgan Trow has a bit of hope now for tenants who feel like they've been treated unfairly.
With these astronomical rent increases, viewers are asking what they can do to prevent eviction. And some are asking how to prevent spending the majority of their paycheck on the rent. Luckily, tenants have some options they've never had before due to new state laws. Rent rising all across the region is a problem, but the Spokane housing shortage makes the issue worse.
I just think they're being super greedy right now, and I don't really, they think that these people are coming into town with all this money in their pocket, and they're just going to kick out everybody that already lives in Spokane.
We've been hearing story after story of people no longer being able to afford their rent. Governor Inslee's emergency proclamation provides additional protections for tenants. This includes the right to a lawyer during the eviction process and requiring a just cause eviction. Terry Anderson with the Spokane branch of the Tenants Union says this gives tenants more power to stand up to their landlord.
So another thing that we would be willing to do if tenants want to organize in their buildings, knock on doors, get the tenants in their building together. And if they would like us to meet with them and show them how to organize, maybe they could negotiate something with the landlord.
Landlords are not allowed to retaliate against tenants. The new Just Cause law means that tenants who organize together cannot be evicted. Because the new protections in place and the dramatic rise in housing costs, Anderson is suggesting an idea she has never encouraged before.
We have never, ever, ever said to tenants to do a rent strike, because a rent strike is going to always get you evicted. Withholding rent is going to get you evicted. But we used to say that before the right to counsel. Now, maybe we might say, take your chances, get a lawyer. And
she says there is power in numbers, and there have been success stories with renters standing up to landlords as a group. If you want more assistance or if you have questions, the Tenants Union will provide remote testimony until August. To find out how to join their meetings, text the word RENT to 509-448-2000. Reporting in the newsroom, Morgan Trow, KREM 2 News.
President Joe Biden is calling on state and local governments to use American Rescue funds to incentivize coronavirus vaccines. He called on states to offer $100 payments to people who've gotten their COVID-19 vaccine. The $1.9 trillion relief bill included $350 billion in funding to assist state, territorial, and local governments impacted by the pandemic. The CDC has now updated its COVID-19 testing recommendation for fully vaccinated individuals. Now, if a person is fully vaccinated and gets exposed to someone with COVID-19, they should get tested 3 to 5 days after exposure. Now, the previous recommendation said those who are fully vaccinated did not need to get tested if exposed unless they were showing symptoms. All right, still ahead tonight, the St. Ignatius Hospital in Colfax has been abandoned for years now. Now a new couple is hoping to breathe new life into the haunted hospital. Plus, the Cup was in Spokane today with Spokane native Tyler Johnson. why it was extra special that he got to show it off here in Spokane. Coming up after the break.